Okay, we're going. We're going. We're happening. All right, Ulysses. Oh my God, we're in the last episode, the last chapter, the Penelope, chapter 18. I'm gonna read a little bit of it. We're gonna, if we have someone else read it, we'll add it on in the end. But I also want to mention I got all my zines back today, so we have ones I did, the New Spain, the Deep Circuit, and some friends. So like through this zine exchange, I was able to. I probably got 30 zines. They said that so you turn in you drop your zine. I did 2 poetry zines and I gave them to them, and then they do 30 copies of your thing and give it to all the other people. So what was the other one? Oh yeah, there was one. This guy, this one was probably the best one. Selections from Plague Year Poems, Part 4, Jousting with Hummingbirds. I thought was like the best one. It's a little bit too clean. I would have done some more messed up design. And but I also like to celebrate the Brain Bulletin by Zoe's Brain, LSE Arc from West London, because this was kind of like the thing we were kind of trying to be like a little bit. But it's good that it's finally out. So like I said, like a bunch of books are coming out. This is a couple of them. So I got a couple copies of this, and I have the original blueprint, so I can make a few more. Whenever someone needs a copy, I can make a few more. So it's good to have those. So that's pretty exciting. So so we're on the last chapter, Joyce. I don't know what else I could say about Joyce. He wasn't into rock and roll. He was more into opera and songs like the Crappie Boy. And my hair's all messed up and got a little wet over there. I went to Newport Beach and I came back. And Joyce, the book. Yeah, I didn't really think about this till reading it this time. The book really ends on page 607. The end of the chapter, that there's a big period, and that's the end. And he actually wrote this next chapter before chapter 17. So let's read a little bit of it to just give you a little taste. I'll put a link. Let's see. There's a link to Molly Bloom's soliloquy, and then I also put a link. Kate Bush famously did a version of this song based on this, and I mean, this is like influenced a lot of things. So let's see where we go. And this was like the controversial episode too. Yes, because he never did a thing like that before, as asked to get his breakfast in bed with a couple of eggs since the City Arms Hotel, when he used to be pretending to be laid up with a sick voice doing his highness to make himself interesting for that old faggot, Miss Riordan, that he thought he had a great leg of, and she never left us a farthing, all the masses for herself, and her sole greatest miser ever was actually afraid to lay out 4D for her mentholated spirit, telling me all her ailments. She had too much old chat in her politics and earthquakes and the end of the world. Let us have it. A bit of fun. First, God help the world if all women were her sort, down on bathing suits and low necks. Of course, nobody wanted her to wear them. I suppose she was pious because no man would look at her twice. I hope I'll never be like her. A wonder she didn't want us to cover our faces when she was a well-educated woman, certainly, and her gabby talk about Mr. Riordan here and Mr. Riordan there. I suppose he was glad to get shut of her and her dog smelling my fur and always edging up to get under my petticoats, especially then. Still, I like that in him, polite to old women like that, and the waiters and the beggars too. He's not too proud out of nothing, but not always. If ever he got anything really serious in the matter with them, it's much better for them to go in the hospital where everything is clean. But I suppose I'd have it to drink it into him for a month, yes, and then wed, have a hospital nurse next thing on the carpet, have a stain there till they throw him out, or a nun, maybe like the smutty photo he has. She's as much a nun as I'm not. Yes, because they're so weak and pulling. They're when they're sick, they want a woman to get well. If his nose bleeds, you'd think it was tragic, and that dying looking one off the South Circular when he sprained his foot at the choir party at the Sugarloaf Mountain the day I wore that dress. Mrs. Stack bringing him flowers, the worst ones she could find at the bottom of the basket, anything at all to get them to a man's bedroom with her old maid's voice, trying to imagine he was dying on account of her, to never see that thy face again, though he looked more like a man with his beard a bit grown in the bed. Father was the same. Besides, I hate bandaging and dosing when he cut his toe with a razor, paring his corns, afraid he'd get blood poisoning. But if it was a thing, I was sick, then what we'd see what attention. Only, of course, the woman hides, if not to give all the trouble they do. Yes, he came somewhere, I'm sure, by his appetite. Anyway, love, it's not, or he'd beat off his feet thinking of her either. It was one of those night women. It was down there. He was really in the hotel story made up, which is a pack of lies to hide it, planning it. Hines kept me. Who did I meet? Ah, yes, I met. Do you remember Menton? Who else? Let me see, his big baby face. I saw him, and he not long married, flirting with a young girl at pools. So let's stop there, and then we'll get to the let's get to the end part. Okay, so yeah, I thought I had it marked here. Okay, oh, to the sea and the crimson, sometimes like the fire and the glorious sunsets and the fig trees and the Alameda gardens, yes, and all the queer little streets and the pink and the blue and the yellow houses and the rose gardens and the jessamine and the geraniums and the cactuses and Gibraltar as a girl where I was a flower of the mountain, yes, where I put the rose in my hair like the Andalusian girls used, or shall I wear a red? Yes. And how he kissed me under the Moorish wall. And I thought, well, as well him as another. And then I asked him with my eyes to ask yet again, yes. And then he asked me, would I say yes to, yes, my mountain flower? And first I put my arms around him and yes, drew him down to me so he can feel my breasts and perfume. Yes, and his heart was going like mad. And I said, yes. I said, yes, I will. I will. Yes. Zurich, Trieste, Zurich, Paris, 1914 to 21. 7 years. Oh, and there's an afterword here too. Yeah, this was supposed to be like a story as part of Dubliners here. Okay, so that's the beginning and the ending of the book and the 18th chapter, the Molly Bloom soliloquy. I read the first part and the very ending of it. So let's kind of summarize what she talked about. How are we doing? 8 minutes. Okay, so the first of Molly's 8 giant sentences that comprise her interior monologue begin with her annoyance and surprise that Bloom has asked her to serve him breakfast. Molly intuits that Bloom has had an orgasm today, and she thinks of his past dalliances with other women. She thinks of her afternoon of sex and aggressive, and the well endowed Boylan, a refreshing change after Bloom's strange love making techniques. On the other hand, Molly guesses Bloom is more virile than Boylan and remembers how handsome Bloom was when they were courting, thinking of Josie and Dennis Breen's marriage. Molly feels that she and Bloom are perhaps mutually lucky. In Molly's second sentence, she considers her various admirers: Boylan, who likes her feet; the tenor Bartell Darcy, who kissed her in church; Lieutenant Gardner, who died in fever in the Boer War. Molly ponders Bloom's underwear fetish. Aroused, Molly anticipates seeing Boylan on Monday and their upcoming trip to Belfast alone. Molly's thoughts turn briefly to the world of concerts, singing, annoying girlish Dublin singers, and Bloom help with her career. Molly remembers Boylan's anger over Linehan's lousy Gold Cup race tip. Molly thinks the Linehan is creepy, considering future meetings with Boylan. Molly resolves to lose some weight and wishes she had more money to dress stylishly. Bloom should quit the Freeman and get lucrative work in the office. Molly remembers going to Mr. Cuff to plead Bloom's job back after he was fired. Cuff stared at her breasts and politely refused. In the third sentence, Molly ponders beautiful female breasts and silly male genitalia. In the fourth sentence, it begins with a train whistle. The thoughts of hot engine car lead her to thoughts about her Gibraltar childhood, her friendship with Hester Stanhope and Hester's husband Wogger, and how boring her life was after they left. She had resorted to writing herself letters. Molly thinks of how Millie sent her only a card this morning and Bloom a whole letter. Molly wonders if Boylan will send her a love letter. Molly's fifth sentence begins with her recollection of her first letter from Lieutenant Mulvey, whom she kissed under the Moorish wall in Gibraltar. She wonders what he's like now. Another train whistles, reminding Molly's of Love's old sweet song in her upcoming performance. She is again dismissive of silly girl singers. Molly views herself as much more worldly, considering her dark Spanish looks, which she inherited from her mother. Molly guesses that she could have been a stage star if she had not married Bloom. Molly shifts in bed and quietly releases built up gas, chiming with another train's whistle. In her sixth sentence, Molly's mind wanders from her Gibraltar childhood to Millie. Molly does not like being alone in the house right now. It was Bloom's idea to send Millie to Mullingar to learn photography because he sensed Molly's and Boylan's impending affair. Molly ponders her close but terse relationship with Millie, who has become wild and good looking like Molly used to be. Molly realizes with frustration that her period is starting and gets up to use the chamber pot. She realizes that Boylan did not make her pregnant. Scenes from the afternoon run through her mind. In the seventh sentence, Molly climbs back into bed and thinks back over the frequent moves, a result of Bloom's shaky financial history. Molly worries that he has spent money on a woman today as well as the Dignam family. Molly thinks of the men at Dignam funeral. They were nice. They are nice, but Molly resents their condescension to Bloom. Molly recalls Simon Dedalus' vocal talent and wonders about Simon's son. Molly remembers meeting Stephen as a child and fantasizes that Stephen is probably not stuck up, just young enough and appealingly clean. Molly plans to read and study before he comes again, so he would not think she's stupid. In the eighth sentence, Molly thinks of how Bloom never embraces her, weirdly kissing her bottom instead. Molly reflects on how much better place the world would be if it was governed by women. Considering the importance of mothers, she thinks again of Stephen, whose mother just died, and of Rudy's death. Then stops this line of thought for fearing of becoming depressed. Molly imagines arousing Bloom tomorrow morning, then coldly telling him about her affair to Boylan to make him realize his culpability. Molly makes plans to buy flowers tomorrow in case Stephen comes. Meditation on flower and nature, the products of God. She thinks lovingly of the day when she and Bloom spent outdoors on Howarth, his marriage proposal, and her resounding positive response. Okay, so in episode 17, the previous one, this is kind of an epilogue. We saw the Bloom Odysseus return home to slay his opponents and with magnanimity. episode 18 as the final third of Nostros, both calls this triumphant ending into question and ultimately ratified. If we read Bloom's final request for breakfast in bed as reassertion of control of the household, then Molly's indignant reaction to his request unsettles this patriarchal closure. The patriarchy is still alive, you know. Yet episode 18 also depicts Molly going through the same trial of meetings with the suitors, opponents that Bloom enacted in episode 17, and Molly seems to discard the one for Bloom, confirming the triumph of Bloom Odysseus with her final yes. Early readers of Ulysses, preoccupied by the supposed obscenity of Molly's monologue, viewed Molly's as an archetypal whore. However, recent focus on the realistic quality of the monologue shows that Molly's character comes across as believably contradictory and nuanced. Her thoughts reveal her to be extremely self centered, yet she is also to be charitable and potential sympathetic towards others, such as Josie Breen and Stephen. She comes across as uneducated but clever, opinionated, and refreshingly frank. She is hypocritical and self contradictory, but also highly perceptive. She ratifies our negative judgments of some of the characters, such as Lanahan. Finally, Molly's monologue is highly entertaining. She has a sense of humor and a gift for mimicking the speech of others. Molly's monologue contains facts and emotions that force us to revise our previous perspective of her and her marriage. For example, Molly's mental list of Molly's infidelities in episode 17 here is shown to be wildly incorrect. Boylan is Molly's first sexual infidelity, and it has occurred only after more than 10 sexless years, and perceived lack of affection with Bloom. Molly's thoughts offer a new perspective. It is Bloom who has been compromising her, and his own infidelities call his judgment of Molly as unfaithful into question. However, Molly gets the final say. Her perspective is dramatized as fallible, specifically through her meditations on Stephen, which are misinformed and idealized. Molly fantasizes about Stephen's humility, friendliness, and cleanliness, three characteristics that do not apply to Stephen as we have seen him. This technique does not demonstrate Molly's individual misperception as much as a lesson of perspective in Ulysses. No single character's perspective will be sufficient to pass judgment. Though Molly's feelings towards Bloom oscillate wildly throughout her monologue, as the episode comes to a close, her thoughts center more on Bloom and Stephen, Rudy, and less on Boylan and other suitors. The sexual desire prevalent through her monologue becomes more evidently underwritten, with a compatible desire for the intimacy of the family structure. Molly's mental return to the scene on Howitt that Bloom has also thought of several times today shows the power of memory to provide a source of continual intimacy between them, even if it's the final yes, maybe in reference to Mulvey or Bloom. This uncertainty is characteristic of Joyce's endings, and it serves to remind us that we have witnessed only a single day in the lives of the Blooms. Progress may have been made in their estranged marriage, but there certainly was not a complete turnaround. On the other hand, the unrestrained affirmation and joy of the final lines cannot be denied. And that's it. And that's the end. And let's see what we got here. Any questions? Any people there? Skip it. Okay. So I'm going solo. So let me just plug that's the end of Ulysses. So that's the 18 chapters. If we have a longer reading, we'll do that later today or tomorrow, or we'll next week, and we'll just add it on. We'll do an add-on. We'll do like looking back. But let me just plug my books and stuff. I mean, there's an email. You can go to my. I think on my YouTube, there's an email address. If you go to my YouTube channel and information, you click you click on the channel, click on Alexander Lawrence, you look, and it says what is the portable infinite. Uh, please subscribe to this channel. There's the Portable Infinite website. I have a Facebook page. I have a Twitter. I have an Instagram. I have a Mixcloud, and you can look at my Discogs record. And this is Alexander Lawrence on YouTube, and you can view my email address and send me any info you want to know about the books. There's I just wrote about this. Let's see. To somebody. Okay, so let me read you what I wrote everybody this today. Okay, so the where did it go? Since we have a little time, it's kind of short, and yeah, this is kind of short. Okay, so what I sent everyone today, the zines have arrived. Okay, the analog body, the book. If you look up Alexander Lawrence Analog Body, you can see the covers and stuff and everything. And I mean, it's going to be available sometime this week, but I'm just, next Monday. Is that Monday or Sunday? No, that's like next Sunday, September 1st. Well, just say September 2nd, Monday. It's a Labor Day weekend, the whole weekend. I'll be talking about you can find if you go to the Portable Infinite, you can find a link, and it will be on. Just look on Amazon. Look at Alexander Lawrence Analog Body. It will pop up in a week time. By the time you're watching this, today is August 25th, but in a week, in 2 weeks, sometime in September, when you're listening to this, you can find things. So the Analog Body, it's coming out. There's an Amazon link. That's like the collected poetry. It does some of the poems from the New Spain are in there. My other book, The Deep Circuit, is still a work in progress. So there's going to be other parts to it. So these are the two chapbooks. I published them with the help of the Newport Beach Library, and they did like a zine exchange. So you take advantage of any free publications. You can get it out there. So I did that. They do it all over libraries or anybody that's wants to. And I got a big stack of zines here. I have more over there, and so it's great. And I'm not sure. And I have the actual blueprint, so I can always make more copies if anybody wants one. I mean, if you write to me, I'll send you a free one, or two. The Analog Body will be on Amazon and then Five Fingers Make a Fist, like I said, another video, which is there's a bunch of copies right behind me. Five Fingers Make a Fist, close by. I don't think so. Where is it? I don't know. But it's been out for 15 years. I might be going to this reading tonight and hand out a few copies. But that's also on Amazon. Alexander Lawrence Five Fingers Make a Fist is available on Amazon. If you email me, I'll give you a deal, like $10, and I'll pay for the shipping. Okay, so what do we do? How are we doing on time? Okay, so that's pretty much it. Thanks for listening to me. I just got some Clarice Lispector books. I don't know where we're going to go next. I want to read some shorter books because I'm not going to go right into Thomas Mann. But and I might take a couple weeks off. But these Ulysses will be the 18 episodes or a few more episodes if I want to have an addendum, and then the rest of these will be in book talk. Oh, and so thanks. Thanks for being on the journey. Maybe we'll do this again. If there's any more Ulysses info, I'll add it to the list here. But there's the 18 chapters. That's it. It's been a long 2 months. It's the first uh, first time in a while I've read the most of Ulysses or thought about it. And you know, it is a great book, and people that say otherwise are just missing out. And it's one of the great. It is possibly the greatest book of the 20th century. And let's end it there. Thank you. God bless. See you the next time, and keep on reading.